This morning smoothie is bananas, about 4 bananas, with a handful of frozen berries, so that's strawberries, blueberries, and I think cherries, and some frozen papaya. I also just went on a run with this beautiful boy. We ran for about 25 minutes. And I'm gonna go ahead and took a shower. It's about 2 o'clock. I have an event around 1:30 to 3:30. So I made my drink a bit of this and put the rest in there. So all I told you again is 4 bananas, about a couple handfuls of mixed berries, and a small piece of papaya, frozen papaya.
This event for those of you that want to participate. It's a very safe, easy disruption of the Metro grocery store in the mall across the street. So if you haven't participated in a disruption before, this will be a fun and safe one. We're going to do a song, we're going to do a speak out. We'll be in and out in under 10 minutes, 15 minutes tops. So if we get thrown out though of this room by 4:30, we're going to do the briefing outside in such a gorgeous day. So we're just going to do it at the entrance of the library. And then following the disruption, there's a social tonight, or today, at Carol Maracho's condo. And that's a pizza party. Suggested donation $10 so we can buy the pizza. And we're going to try Pizza's new vegan pizza that everyone's been talking about. So like the talk of Facebook for the last 3-4 days. Vegan pizza, pizza.
Mama's Pizza does vegan pizza.
We know also there'll be places that do vegan pizza, but Pizza finally did it. Okay, so people are going to be arriving late, and we're just going to get them to come in. Okay, the very last announcement. If you do not get an email from time to time from Direct Action Everywhere, either from DXE Toronto or from DXE General, if you never get an email from either one of them, then you should sign this piece of paper so that we can add you to the email list. We are very bad at sending out an email once a month saying what we're doing every month, but there's a better chance of you getting an email if you actually sign up. So I'm going to hand out 2 clipboards. If you don't get the DXE emails ever, you should sign up to get your DXE emails. And just sign the back or find your name and give us your email address. So thank you for passing this around.
It's a real pleasure and honor to be in Toronto. And for those of you who don't know, Toronto is making waves across the animal rights movement around the world. I've traveled to 30+ cities to talk about animal rights, and consistently Toronto is one of the cities people mention as leading the way in the revolution for animal rights, and it is a revolution. But I'm here today to talk about a tactic called open rescue, and the consequences activists have faced across the country and across the world for doing this tactic. But I'm going to start with a story. This is my friend. Her name's Diane Gandy Sorby. She is in her 60s. She's retired, mild-mannered. She spends most of her time volunteering in animal shelters and gardening. She has a beautiful garden in her backyard. And her entire life, she's never gotten in any trouble. She made her bed every day, all the way through school. Who does that? But in the eyes of law enforcement in Northern California, Diane Gandy Sorby is a terrorist. And this is why. Because she took this dying bird to the vet. The bird, who we named Ella, was on the brink of death. She could barely stand, was stumbling around, was so weak she couldn't get to the food bowl, was so weak that as feces and urine rained down from her, from the perch above, she couldn't get out of the way. And Diane did what every good, decent person does when they see a suffering animal. She tried to help. She didn't even walk onto the property. She didn't take a step on anyone's land. She didn't damage or vandalize the farm. She literally just stood at the edge of the property, took a bird that someone else handed her, and drove that bird to the vet. And Diane was charged with larceny, criminal mischief, and accused of being a terrorist by the farm in Northern California. So what in God's name is going on here? How did this happen? This could happen to you, too. And what can be done about this? Too often in the face of institutions behaving badly, and certainly in the United States we know a lot about that, we feel powerless to create change. But the talk I'm going to give you today, and Diane's story, shows us that there is something that we can do. The industry attempted to punish Diane for an act of compassion precisely because they knew the act of compassion she took had power, tremendous power. Diane holds this power. We hold this power as activists. You hold this power. But to wield that power well, we have to understand it. And the power to change the world for animals comes in 3 parts that I'll talk about today. The power of rescue, power in sacrifice, and power in numbers. Let's start with the first. Whoever saves one life saves the world. This is a famous phrase from many different cultural traditions, but perhaps the most famous is from Jewish history. So, anyone know what this image is from?
It's from Schindler's List? No.
And the scene starts with the people of Krakow getting rounded up by the German army. A little girl suddenly appears, and her coat is red. It's the only color that you see in the entire movie. We don't know the girl's name or her story, and neither does Oskar Schindler, who's watching from a hill. But we know that someone once loved this little girl. Someone had given her this beautiful red coat. But that someone has been taken from her. The little girl is now alone. She's crying and stumbling across the street as German soldiers move in. There's violence raging all around her, masses of people being beaten up, sometimes even killed. But through it all, as we watch people being beaten and abused and confiscated away, through it all, we can't stop thinking about this one little girl. We think to ourselves, what if it were my little sister, my niece, or even my daughter? And that is what Oskar Schindler, the hero of the story, thinks too. And it shakes him into action. It shakes us too, because the violence that's happening in the movie suddenly becomes very deep and very personal. We want to save this little girl. We need to save her. And in our desperation to save this one life, we finally understand how important it is to save them all. Here's my second example. It comes from Christianity. I have to confess, I don't actually know a lot about Christianity. But I have heard about a parable called the parable of the Good Samaritan. Has anyone by chance heard of this parable? And it feels like they know it well. I think probably everyone has. I'm sorry, I'm kind of ignorant. I'm Asian, I'm an immigrant. But does anyone feel confident in describing it in a few sentences? No? Okay, I'm going to do my best then. And again, for those of you who are Christian, if I get it wrong, please feel free to correct me afterwards. From what I understand about the parable, from what I've heard about the parable, it goes like this. There's a traveler walking across the road, and he's suddenly set on by a bunch of robbers. They beat him, they take all his things, they even take away his clothes, and he's left dying on the ground. A priest passes by. The priest looks at the man dying on the ground and says, no, he's not an orphan for me. I don't have the time to take care of this man. Then a government official walks by and decides, no, we don't have the resources to care for this man. And then finally, a Samaritan, who at the time was one of the
recording, which is great because I hope you can hear that I'm being completely rational, completely nice.
Excuse me, you're
I'm
being
actually listening to her,
rational.
and she's actually just offending
You
me.
have a dead
Insulting.
animal.
I'm not insulting.
You have a dead animal around your neck who was tortured and killed for your vanity. Well, do you think that's acceptable to torture and kill an animal for your vanity?
Wonderful for you to take the info, and you can actually tell me about her. You can do something kind for her. So can you take them back?
That is absolutely. That's coyote. So that's coyote. You're not wearing fur. I don't care if you steal. You don't kill an animal for something as shallow. That animal was killed in a Lego trap that's so cruel it's banned in 80 countries around the world. And if it was a mother, she would have tried to chew her leg off to get back to her cubs. Her cubs would have watched her die, and then they would have all died, just so you could walk around with a fur collar for your vanity. So you must be so proud of yourself.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. I'll take
Take
one.
that off and
I'll
go
take
donate
it. I'll
it
take
to
it.
an animal
In
sanctuary.
front of our faces, hopefully.
Why would I?
Well, I know that it's upsetting, but it's also upsetting for us to see, because whenever we see the fur trim,
For
we
sure.
see these
You know
animals.
what? I wish it was more like, you're really calm. And you're really nice.
I'm
You're really
trying
nice.
to educate you in
Yeah,
as
but she's
peaceful
trying to
way as
insult me.
possible.
She's trying to insult me. You know? And that's how you don't, if you want to have like a proper dialogue, and if you want to get your point across to someone, especially strangers,
Right.
the best way to do, I mean, like, especially if it's something like this, it's a hot topic for sure, and I'm sure she's passionate about
It's
it.
a very heated topic.
Of course. The thing is, I'm a rational person,
Yes.
right? And I can talk, and I can listen to somebody speaking like you, who's being completely relaxed, you know, and I can have a dialogue with you, but I can't have a dialogue with something like that who's coming into
video. So I just came back from the DXE event. Yes, I was raw today. Tomorrow will be day 7. Tomorrow will be 1 week I've been raw. So today I ate some junk food. It was like there's 2 types of raw treats they had there. So I had some it was like a raw, it's kind of like a chip, raw, a dehydrated chip. A couple of those, and I had some other over there were but anyway, it was basically just raw treats. So I'm just back at the place. I have to leave tomorrow morning. I'm probably gonna head back home, but I don't know if you can see Majestic right there. He's laying on the table. But I'm gonna go make a smoothie. What you guys want me to make? Just gonna have some frozen papaya. The last of the frozen papaya. I'm gonna add some 4 or 5 bananas, and I'm gonna have some of this frozen berry cherry blend Welch's, and I'm gonna add some water. Probably just gonna eat a bunch of smoothies for the night because I have a bunch of bananas here that I have to get off. They're not ripe, but as long as I'm not eating them and throwing them in a smoothie, it's okay. So peace, guys. See you for tomorrow's video.